Welcome to Let's Talk Woodstown, where we discuss what's happening in the Woodstown-Piles Grove Regional School District. I'm Emma Allcorn, joined by Superintendent Dr. Meyrick. So, I know there's been a lot of talk and chatter about the 5th grade moving into the middle school this year. I was mostly wondering where the idea started and how it kind of got kick-started.
Yeah, Emma, well, welcome. Happy New Year, right? I think it's a conversation that we need to have, right? So it kind of started last year. And again, it really started at our community chats, really what's going on in the district. And again, when we look at our conversations, we always kind of drive our conversations back to our mission, our vision, right, and our district goals, right? So just to remind everyone, our vision is promising every Wolverine a future. And why we mean by that is every single student in our district needs to have a voice, every student needs to be seen. And as we kind of go into really goal number 4, it's really looking at our infrastructure and facilities. Right now, we don't have an abundance of space, right? So that kind of limits what we can do as a district. But then if we go into goal number 1 about whole child achievement, we need to start building out programs. And what we needed to do this year, which we were able to accomplish despite 5th grade not moving this current school year, is that we build out programs for our students with special needs, right? So we were able to build out 5 programs within the Mary Shoemaker building. Again, this is giving every student the opportunity to stay in district. And that was really my non-negotiable in the sense of saying, okay, every student needs to be here. And again, we don't want to leave those students behind and be like, okay, we can't service you, we need to send you somewhere else. So that was one of our non-negotiables moving into this school year.
Yeah, you don't want to push anyone away from the school. Definitely
correct,
not.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of parents and guardians who are going to be involved with their students' lives. How are you communicating this move to them and making sure that they know exactly what's happening? Yeah,
I think that's a great question. And one of the things that we continue to enhance every year is really looking at our goal 2 and 3, right? It goes back to those goals of our external, internal communication. So one of the things that we did this year was we instilled a community chat. We had one in the fall. We're going to have one in a couple weeks, and then we'll have another one before the end of the school year. Really just giving everyone the opportunity to hear what's going on in the district, right? So that, the 5th grade conversation is going to be an integral part in our meeting, right, our next community chat. But then how do we also convey that message, right? So we also started talking about, at a monthly level, at the board level, we're going to share out the updates to the 5th grade transitioning into the middle school. That's also going to be a part of our school principals' monthly newsletters, right? There's going to be a section that we're going to draft from our office and saying that this is what's happening for the 5th grade. Upcoming meeting is where we're really going to focus on here's the classroom space within the middle school that 5th grade will be housed. But then also, and I know you'll meet with Dr. Carr in a little bit, but then it gets into the part where here's the celebrations for our 5th grade students, right? We want to make sure that our 4th grade students are still receiving the same traditions and the same recognition that they would if they were a 5th grade student in Mary Shoemaker.
Yeah, that's nice. What were any major concerns that were brought up through the parents, and how are you going to be addressing those for moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll actually have a rising 5th grader. So my oldest daughter is going to be a 5th grader next year, right? So I look at it from a perspective as an administrator, as your superintendent, but I also look at it as from a parent. Like, if my daughter was coming here, what would I want to make sure happens, ensure her safety, her well-being, right? So I think it really came down to scheduling with Mr. Podolsky, having conversation about here's our current landscape, here's your current building, where can we house the students to be most effective, but also most safe, right? So, and that's where we looked at in terms of identifying classroom space where, here's our students, this is where they're going to be housed. They're going to be near the main office. There's a, doorway that's going to, block the entry from other outside, high school students coming by. But I think that was really the concern in the sense of the safety part. But then the also part where they were concerned about was the unknowns, right? They didn't have the opportunity to express their concerns. So what we did, I want to say in November, we have a work session meeting and a Board of Education meeting. The Board of Education meeting is really not a platform for conversations, right? Parents have the ability to comment, which is about 3 minutes. You can't get a lot in 3 minutes, right? Nor can I have conversation, or our board president, Marisha Shirelli, can't have conversations. So we actually invited them into our work session, and we allowed them to have opportunity to kind of hear their concerns. And again, we were able to address any of those concerns before we even presented a final product to the Board of Education. But as we kind of move forward, we're going to keep them involved because they're an integral part, right?
Yeah, that's really great. And so Dr. Carr, he's kind of the big push for all of these plans? Is he making the major decisions?
He's an integral part. You know, I don't want to say he's the major part because I think we're a good team, right, in a sense. But I will say that he's been tasked with the idea of making sure the students in 4th grade get what they need, right? And again, by what I mean by that is traditions, right? Being a 5th grader at Meyrick Shoemaker always came with a tradition of being a safety. Well, how do we do that for our 4th grade students, right? Then you talk about, you know, they always have a culminating celebration. So how are we giving that 4th grade a celebration as they leave Meyrick Shoemaker and come into middle school? And again, what we talked about was we didn't want them to be a commingled, right, or a 4th and 5th grade celebration. We wanted it to be one celebration. So that's where we said, okay, let's have separate events for our 4th graders and separate events for our 5th graders. So Dr. Carr has been tasked with a lot of the stuff up front, making sure students. And as we kind of transition, you know, to the end of the school year, we're really going to be pushing that onus to Mr. Podolsky, our middle school principal. So it's a shared agreement of sorts at this point.
Well, thank you for giving us some insight.
You're welcome.
When we come back, we'll meet with the principal of Meyrick Shoemaker School, Dr. Carr.
We have the world at our fingertips, inspiration in our touch, and power in our hands. Our hands can build relationships, frame ideas, and empower communities. It doesn't stop there. Right here in our hands, we have the power to save lives. If you see a teen or adult suddenly collapse, call 911 and push hard and fast into the center of their chest. The power is in your hands.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Woodstown. We're here with Dr. Carr, who's the principal at Meyrick Shoemaker. Welcome today. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks for talking with me.
Of course. So I know there's definitely a lot of nerves in the 4th and the 5th grade about the move to the middle school. How are you preparing the 5th graders for their move to the middle school?
Yeah, that's a tough thing right now, but we've been discussing this since last year. So one of the things that we've really felt was important is what is best for our students. So we think about that not just at Shoemaker, but we think about it across the district. So there's a lot of things that we've considered with making that move. For Shoemaker is kindergarten through 5th grade. So our current 4th graders, with this being their last year at the Shoemaker School, they're getting a lot of the experiences that they would have if they were to continue in 5th grade at Shoemaker or as it's going to be at the middle school. So some of the things that we're doing to prepare for them is we want to celebrate them. We have a wonderful school, we have a wonderful staff. Our 5th grade students have the opportunity to work with multiple teachers. They're departmentalized. So one of the things that we know is important for our 4th grade students is that they're going to be able to go into 5th grade entering their first year having multiple teachers, and those teachers are currently right down the hall from them. So even though it'll be at the middle school building, they're going to be familiar with the teachers, they're going to get to know the routines that'll be set by those teachers, and along the way, we're going to realize that we want to celebrate them. So a couple of the examples that we have in mind, our current 5th grade students at the Shoemaker School, they get to do little things. They get to have student leadership roles like being a safety. They get to be recognized at Board of Education meetings for being young Wolverines. So what we want to do this year is celebrate our 4th grade students and our 5th grade students, make our 4th grade students feel special, just the way a 5th grade student would be. So we're going to recognize our 4th grade students at Board of Education meetings. Mrs. Knight, our dean and students, and I are going to work on some safety student leadership opportunities for our 4th grade students. We will have orientation opportunities for the middle school for our 4th grade students, as well as end of year activities, celebrations. We have a lot of brainstorming that we've put in to make it a special year for them.
Yeah. And so the 4th grade, they'll basically be the 5th grade of the Meyrick Shoemaker next year. Because there won't be another 5th grade. Is there any other things that you're doing to just specifically prepare them?
Great question. Yeah, so one of the things that we do as we get into the later part of the year, we'll do the orientation session, so they'll get a chance to see the middle school. They'll have the opportunity to work with our current 5th grade teachers. We build a lot of skills into our 4th grade. Like I said to you in the previous response, this is the first year entering 5th grade where they get into a routine of switching classes. So the strength that I see for our current 4th grade students is they are going to be in a different hallway at the middle school, but it's basically going to mirror the experience they have at Shoemaker in 5th grade, just in a different building.
Yeah, that's great. And then you said that you were having celebrations for both 4th and 5th grade. Is there anything that you're doing to make sure that both fifth grade still feel special about being fifth grade, but fourth grade also gets that experience?
Absolutely, that's a great point. So one of the things that we think is important is we don't want to just make activities only, hey, everything is fourth and fifth grade together. So what's been important, our fourth grade team's going to work hard coming up with ideas. What we want to do is do things that are similar. The example I gave about fourth grade safeties. We want to provide them student leadership opportunities, give them the safety experience that only fifth grade students have, but we're going to do it in a little bit of a different way. When we get to our end of year celebration, fifth grade does something called a fifth grade finale. We're going to have a separate celebration for our fourth grade students. So it's a good team effort. They're going to be together as next year's fifth and sixth graders. So we want to make sure that they have some relationships with together, but we also want to celebrate them each as a separate fourth grade class and a fifth grade class.
Yeah, that's great. I really think that it's good that they'll also both feel special and they'll both have their own opportunities.
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
still be able to get everything done.
Yeah, I think that through this whole process, I think that's been important. We're considering primarily what's most important for the students, and then we also consider what's important for the family, what's important for the school. So those are all going into our decisions.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Absolutely, thank you.
When we come back, we'll chat with Dr. Meyrick again for our latest student and staff recognitions.
Look around you. 1 in 4 kids in the U.S. faces hunger. It's not always easy to see the signs, but in this land of plenty, there are kids that don't know where they will get their next meal. Join Share Our Strength and Food Network and take the pledge to end childhood hunger here in America. Learn how at NoKidHungry.org. Their next meal could come from you.
Welcome back. We're back with Dr. Meyrick, ready to talk about some staff and student recognitions. So with the staff recognitions, is there any major ones worth noting?
Yeah, for sure. So just recently we were able to recognize our Teachers of the Year as well as our Educational Special Professionals of the Year. So that's always a fun time, right? So I get the opportunity to go around to each of the buildings, celebrate our teachers as well as our ESPs, and that's always fun, right? So I'm able to coordinate the announcements with each building principal. So typically what I do is I go with our Director of Curriculum, our Director of Student Services, and then meet up with the different principals around the district or then Dean of Students and stuff. So that's always fun, right? Because then we get to celebrate them and get to even hopefully surprise them as well. So that's always fun. So we have a great collective this year, all well deserved. And again, it's tough, right? Because when you recognize our Teachers of the Year, our ESPs of the Year, there's always so many other deserving people that don't get the award. But hopefully we are able to recognize a lot.
Yeah. And any major student recognitions for?
Yeah, so this upcoming board meeting, I think the way the board has been recognizing our student, making Woodstown proud, has been well received. This upcoming board meeting will be recognizing our football team. Okay, they were our sectional champions. We'll be recognizing some of our All-South Jersey choir students from the middle school and high school. We'll also be recognizing some of our FFA place winners at the national conference. So that's exciting. Good time to be here.
Yeah. Let's take a look at some of our student and staff recognitions. It's really great that there's a lot of students and staff doing some really great things.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Let's Talk Woodstown. For Dr. Meyrick, I'm Emma Allcorn. We'll see you next time.